Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we are gonna talk about the cat and mouse duet, and this is so controversial in the book community. I think it was time that I did a full-on review of both of these books because I love them. So just let's get this out of the way. I love them. So the duet for me is 5 stars or even more, especially the second one. So if you're not of that opinion, and you're gonna stick around hoping that I'm gonna say something that is not positive about these books, it's not gonna happen. So stick around at your own risk. You do you, I do me. I love these. So if you wanna know what they're about, let's get into it. I'm gonna give you a spoiler-free review of the first one. And then for the second one, since I cannot talk about it without spoiling the first one, I'm just gonna give you a spoiler warning, and then I'm gonna continue in the second half of the video with the second one. So without further ado, let's get into it. I gave this book 4.5 stars. I loved it. It's very controversial. It's heavy on the trigger warnings. The entire duet, it's so heavy. Please check them. If any of them are a trigger for you, avoid this because they are no joke. They are absolutely no joke. And I think when you start this one in particular, it's very hard then to not go into the next one because it ends on a cliffhanger. So check the trigger warnings preferably for both of them because the second one gets even heavier and the second one is completely different. Like the storyline is so far away from this one. We only have the same characters. There is nothing in the storyline that is the same and it gets so much heavier. So I think it's really important that you check your trigger warnings before you start. So the first we're going to talk about is Hunting Adeline. This is book 1 in the duet, and this is the story of how the main character meet. So one thing that I actually really loved about the entire duet is that within the story, we actually get usually multiple storylines. And one of my favorites is always that we have diaries of different people that the main character, so in this case, Adeline, reads throughout the book. So we see her story, but we also see glimpses of stories that happen in the past of other characters. It kept me so hooked because then I wanted to see what was happening with Adeline, but I also wanted to see what would happen with the other characters. This is a great moment to tell you that before you go in to read this duet, I suggest that you read first Satan's Affair, which is basically a novella that it's in the same world as this, but it's not about the main character. So about a girl that is a serial killer and she travels with this fair, kind of like circus fair, and she analyzes bad guys. We will find her at some point in this duet, so I think it's really nice if you see and read that part first, not to spoiler it for you because these 2 books contain spoilers of that story. So if you read these and then you're like, oh, I want to go back, it's already going to be spoilers. So if you want to go and read Sibi's, her name is Sibi's book, do it before you read this 2. There are other 2 books that are connected with this series, and I'm gonna mention them throughout the review, and I'm gonna suggest when I think it's best for you to read them, so stick around to find out. Book 1, we have Adeline, which is our main female character, and she is an author which just inherited basically this huge mansion from her grandma. And this mansion is basically in a very secluded area, like in the wood on like a cliff or something. And she decides that she's gonna go there and live there. But her mom is like, what are you gonna do in the middle of nowhere? But Addie's always been very connected with this house, very connected with the history in it, with her grandma. And so she decided that she's gonna go and live there. And she goes, and one of the things that I think it's also very creepy, but also very well done about this book, is that in the house, there is always this sort of like presence, or they're not really ghosts. They call them ghosts sometimes. It can be ghosts, it cannot be ghosts, presence. Anyway, there are these creepy things happening, which in the book is hinted there are definitely supernatural, like ghosts or something. The situation is quite creepy. In the house, she also finds the diary of her great-grandma, which died in that exact house. So that also gets quite creepy because then she reads the diary, and we also get to see the diary of her great-grandma as we go through the story, which I thought was great because we could see her daily basically updates of the diary as Addie reads it. And one thing that is very interesting is that Gigi, so her great-grandma, had a stalker. And in this diary, she writes about this stalker and how then she, at the beginning, was freaked out, but then she started being interested. So you see all the story of Gigi and her stalker. And at the same time, another thing is that the situation gets even more creepy because Zaid comes into view. So Zaid is the male main character in here, and he is Addie's stalker. What happens in the beginning is that she's, as I said, she's an author and she has a signing. And Zaid just casually is passing by on the street in front of the bookstore, sees her and decides, that's her, that's my woman, and from now on, there's nothing that's gonna be in between us. So he decides that he's gonna start stalking her. He sends her roses in the house. He sends her messages from unknown numbers in her phone, has threats that then become reality. So basically, book one is the story of the two of them, how they get to know each other, how Zaid is very persistent into his stalking, and how Addie at some point changes her mind from not wanting to be with him to actually then the whole story goes. I personally loved it. I know it's not for everyone. It's not the darkest book that I've ever read, absolutely, but it's also not a starter book, which, by the way, this is what I started with in my dark romance journey. Would I recommend it? No, because it's no, because I think it's so triggering that if you have no introduction to it and you have even this smallest triggers, there is a high chance that this is going to trigger you. Now, that being said, I loved it. I don't think Zaid is a green flag book boyfriend. I think he is toxic. I think he is a big red flag. However, it's fictional. It's fictional. It's fictional. I would not want this in my life. I actually have completely different taste in men, but fictionally, I love this story. I love to see Gigi's stories. I loved Addie. I loved Zaid. I love them, and it's just a book. So do with that what you will. I personally loved it. If you want to read Gigi's story, it just came out this year. So I think I absolutely love that one as well. It was 5 stars, and it's called Phantom. And it's about Gigi and her stalker, Ronaldo. And oh my God, Ronaldo is completely different from Zaid, like completely different. So if you do not like Zaid, please don't let it stop you from reading about Gigi and Ronaldo, because Ronaldo is just this sweet man that is absolutely head over heel for her. And it's, oh my God, I loved him so much. I loved him so much. So absolutely Gigi's story, highly, 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 absolutely recommend as well. I would read this one first, and then I would go on with Gigi. Also because this is how technically the author made it, in the sense that this came out first and then Gigi's story came out after. But I think it's really gonna make you nostalgic, especially in the bonus scene that we have at the end. Oh my God, I cried so much. I think really it's so well made. It's so good. I loved it. I hope you're gonna love it as well. But the entire world of this duet, absolutely chef kiss. So now we're gonna talk about book 2. So if you have not read or finished book 1 and you want no spoilers, like 0 spoilers for book 2, I suggest you skip to the end, because now I'm gonna start talking about it. And the thing is, it's really difficult to talk about this book without giving any spoilers, because otherwise I could not give you any context. So you've been warned. I'm gonna start talking about it. There could be spoilers. So book 2 is completely different from book 1 in the sense that in book 1 we have stalker romance, we have their relationship, we get to see Addie and Zayd together, and then how they interact, what they do, and all of that. Book 1 ends on a cliffhanger in which we have Addie that gets kidnapped. And this is where we get in book 2. So we have Addie that's being kidnapped and gets into this house, and basically it's human trafficking. So the entire first half of the book, it's about Addie and human trafficking. So when I say that this is dark, I don't mean this kind of dark. I don't mean Zayd playing with Addie. I don't mean some gun spicy scenes. I mean dark in the worst way. Like dark where you want to throw up dark. So basically they are in this house. She is with other girls that all have been kidnapped and are living together in this house, and it's just their story, how they go through all the abuse and all the torture that they make them go through. It's also black market because then the final goal is for them to be sold to very rich people to have fun. So please, check your trigger warnings. It's so dark because it's not going to be a fast reunion. Sometimes when you start books that have this kidnapping trope or something, it's usually quite fast, so nothing really bad happens in that period. This is not one of them. This is not one of them. It's gonna take them a long time to then finally be connected again and be together again, and for her to escape. It's gonna take some time, and you see all of it in the book. Now, one thing that I want to mention, which refers to also what I said before. So while Addie is in this house, she also finds another journal, another diary of one of the girls that was there before her. And so also in this book, we get to see these pages of the diaries as she reads them. And in this case is the diary of Molly, which, as I said, it's another girl that was there and is the only one that escaped. So she is telling her experience in the diary, and then Addie also starts writing in the diary. So then we also have the storyline of Molly, what happened to Molly. And if you want to read about Molly, there's also one book for her. So it's called Where's Molly? And that one was another 5-star for me. I absolutely loved it. And I would suggest you read it after you read this one. So I would go Saturn's Affair, The Cat and Mouse Duet, Phantom, and then Where's Molly? You get to see also how Adeline is going through her trauma, how she is growing from it, how she's healing as well with the help of Zayd, how they're helping each other, especially how Zayd he completely transforms from book 1 to book 2. Of course, it's the same character, but with her, you have this complete transformation in book 2 that will make you love him even more. Like, he is so good with her. So I think this book is far superior, in my opinion, to book 1, even if it's much harder to read. But it's so superior because of the growth of the characters, of how they develop, how they heal, and really it shows how strong Addie is. And it was incredible for me. It gave me so many emotions. I was so hurt at the beginning, so mad for her. I cried. It made me sob so much, but it was so worth it because absolutely it's one of my favorite dark romances. This is not even dark romance anymore. This is just dark stuff. This is just a dark book with then some romance at some point. And the good thing about the romance is that it's healing. I mean, at least it healed me. So this book completely broke me, but then it also repaired me and sewed me out. So I absolutely loved it. I think this is my favorite book from this author. So read it at your own risk. It's heavy, it's thick, but it's super worth it. So there you have it, guys. We reached the end. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you will pick up these books and love them as much as I did. If they're not for you, it's fine. We all have different tastes. Read what you love. I will read what I love. This is just my opinion. If you do not agree, that's fine. If you are interested in dark romance, please go and check out my other YouTube videos about dark romance for beginners, which are much less dark than these ones and are also just as good. If you like this kind of content, please stick around, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!